Guys, we have a brand spanking new Hall of Heroes for May 2022, Amduat the Dark Horus. This guy, if you like the Fire Lich, you might like Amduat the Dark Horus. He has some pros and some cons. I know people got to mention, they're going to be like, oh, but he doesn't multi-hit. He does this, he does that. He needs more speed. I know, we'll get to that in a second. He's got a passive every time the enemy's turn ends. He gains 25% attack bar. So, for those comps that your enemies are running where they just keep getting turns and keep getting turns, he's going to steal turns. He's going to cut in. Unfortunately, he doesn't do a crazy amount of stuff when he actually cuts in. However, I think that this guy actually might see a buff in the upcoming balance patch, but we'll talk about, I was going to say we'll talk about that in a second. Let's just talk about it now. Why don't we talk about it in a second? Okay, so number one, he's got the new transmog. So of course, new transmog, new Hall of Heroes goes hand in hand. Everything very lovely. Number two is he hasn't, and we've seen before the transmogs and the balance patches, kind of some of them tend to be similar. Like the things just got transmogs, they get a balance patch, or vice versa. So Light One was just in the last balance patch, which leads me to think that between the transmogs just coming out of nowhere and the Light One being in the last balance patch, that maybe this has been a discussion in comp to us. They're like, oh, maybe we should buff the Horuses. Not too many people really use it. Well, actually, I want to say not too many people using them. I do kind of like some of the Horuses. Let's talk about what he does. Let's talk about what I don't remember which. Yeah, there we go. We'll talk about what he does. We'll talk about what the other ones do. This guy, I built him. He's kind of fun, but he really doesn't. He's got a defense buff. He's got a crit resist buff. He's got the single target damage stun, whatever. We don't need to talk about this guy. I wouldn't recommend building him, but this is one of the ones that, like, there's very, very likely they'd come to us buffs this at some point because he really doesn't do anything. He's a 4-star. He's just sitting there. Nobody builds him, whatever. This guy, actually, if you like using Odin, if you like using Katarina, this guy's a fantastic combination with Odin and Katarina. Unfortunately, his leader skill is basically nothing. It is kind of tricky to get Katarina to work in some teams. Sometimes I like to use this with Odin, Katarina in Guild Wars. I know we're just talking about the other Horuses. We'll talk about the Dark Horse in a second. I just want to give you guys a brief overview on the other Horuses, a little bit of value that they have. But this guy is actually pretty decent in Guild Wars with Katarina and Odin, or just Odin if you want. I mean, between Shield, Will, and then the 3 buffs that Shadow Fury gives, that fully stacks Odin. So just food for thought. This one has always been a great combination with Copper or Bulldozer for Guild Wars. Guild Siege is fantastic for that. He also increases the attack gauge fully. The Light One, if you got the amazing leader skill, we have the Duty of the Monarch, which was just buffed. We just talked about that. We have defensive stance. He just defense buffs. What is he? Defense buffs. He crit resist buffs, and then he increases attack gauge. He also has the speed lead, so you just put him on Swift, and he's pretty nasty with some of those speed. There's people that ran him with Copper Bulldozer combinations in RTA. But we should be talking about Amduat. I actually think that Amduat and Kabezanuf should be, the leader skills make more sense the opposite way. I think that this guy should have an attack power leader skill, and this one makes more sense with the resistance leader skill. So this one, first skill, just decrease attack bar, nothing crazy. This one, Desert Wind, he only has 2 real skills that he can use. Attacks all enemy Winds of Sand, decreasing 30% of their attack bar, also their attack speed for 2 turns with a 50% chance. Damage of this skill increases according to your attack speed, so you want to make him fast. Makes sense. Actually, the damage of these 2 increase according to your attack speed as well. This is what makes him different. Tip of the Spear passive, increase your attack bar by 25% each time the enemy turn ends. So he's similar to the Fire Lich. Fire Lich is random. He just cuts in. He's like, I'm going to get a turn now. Amduat is more reliable. He's like, I'm just going to consistently keep getting turns, keep getting attack gauge, The problem with Amduat is that when he actually gets a turn, when he fills up his attack gauge, because he can cut in kind of to things that just keep cycling turns. Diana, Ciara, so many things. He might actually be pretty decent against Oliver. We'll take a look at him. I was using him against Gani Hathor comps. I was using him, and I was using the Fire Lich. Unfortunately, one of the issues is when he does actually get a turn, this doesn't do anything crazy. I think that he does need... So there is that reliability of he actually, like, you can rely on him to get turns, but he doesn't do anything crazy when he does get a turn. A lot of people put him on Despair, but one of the things is he just doesn't do that much when he actually does get turns. So I think that there could be a couple of viable options as far as buffs are concerned for him. He's already can be used. It's just kind of a niche last pick situation in RTA. I wouldn't bring him into Guild Wars really. He doesn't have enough value in Guild Wars. I would use the other, the water one and the wind one for sure. But in RTA against control comps, against fast aggressive control comps, I do think that he has some value there. One of the things that they can do to him is to make him just immune to CC, which would already give him some value. Number two is they could, and it looks like they do want to buff the Horuses. It looks like they are at least on the menu because they just buffed the light one. Again, that's just my opinion. I'm probably going to be completely wrong, but it is an option. It is, and we see that they want to do more balance patches more often. So I don't know when the next balance patch is supposed to be, but it feels like it should be fairly soon. It's not going to be a crazy large one. It's going to be maybe a little bit more modest, as we have seen. But it should be somewhat soonish. I'll do the math and I'll figure it out. So number one is this. He could be immune to CC. Number two is he could do multi-hits. Like just this. Decrease the damage that each hit does. But make the Desert Wind just a multi-hit skill, because multi-hits are very strong. Like the Fire Lich has the multi-hits. Anything that does additional damage is multi-hits, and this would be more reliable with multi-hit skill versus a... also, the cooldown is not anything crazy. I think that they could knock one off the cooldown, or make this a multi-hit, or make him immune to CC, and that would be... I feel like that would be steps in the right direction for him. He does have utility. Again, he does have utility in the same teams that the Fire Lich would have utility. It's just the Fire Lich kind of edges him out. But you guys can see for yourself. One of the things with him, though, one of the things with him is he does actually need speed to be effective. So usually people put him on high speed. On Despair, he continues to cut in. He continues to CC enemy teams against fast, aggressive control teams like Oliver and things like that. Now we're going to see some RTA battles with this guy. We got two that I want to show you against fast, aggressive. Look at the things that the opponent is bringing in. He's bringing in Oliver. He's bringing in Karnal. He's bringing in Shangpeng. He's bringing all these things. He's going to turn cycle and turn cycle and turn cycle, right? He's got the skill 1 stun. He didn't want to use the skill 3 just yet. We have the Nana and the Molly, which is Nana and Molly work well with pass. Actually, that looks like a team that I would like to use for turn 2. Okay, so he's increasing his attack gauge. He's increasing his attack gauge. Nana's going to be reviving in him just a second. We got Violent Nana. Okay. So comes back. Opponent's going to get some turns. Okay, we got the Overpower. We got a stun. Let's see if he actually... Oh, wow. This is so close, though. This is so close. Desert Wind. Does some damage. Okay, that would have been great if that actually killed something, stacked Nana again. So he's got the, he's getting some stuns on things. Between the Monkey, between the Amduat. Amduat's got another turn now, and he just conceded. So this was a very fast, aggressive G2 comp that someone was taken into him, and he's like, I'm going to Amduat, I'm going to Wind Monkey, I'm a Nana, I'm a Molly, and... Hope that RNG works in our favor. He did take a lot of debuffs though, but this is one of the comps that you would be taking him into. Next match, again, you see the same thing on the left-hand side is a fast, aggressive. I bet they ban Lima. They ban Lima, so they ban the healer, right? So, and they also the thing that has immunity and invincibility and everything else. So Amduat's going to be stealing turns. I'm sure this one is also on Despair and Will. So let's see how much... He's not going to do that much damage, is he? He can do some decent damage. These Horuses actually can do decent damage. If they're on crit damage, their damage is based on speed, especially if they have a speed buff. But generally, they're not like super squishy because they are supposed to be, for the most part, unless you're Math Plus games, they are supposed to be turn 2 units that can withstand a couple hits and survive. That's why I think that the resistance lead would have made more sense on the Dark one, and the attack power would have made more sense on the Water one, because the Water one's supposed to be more of an aggressive one, and then the Dark one is supposed to be more of a turn 2 kind of counter mechanic team. There it is, Amduat the Dark Horus, the next Hall of Heroes and Summoners War. Hope this video was helpful in kind of giving you some context into where he is being used in the meta. Hope this was helpful. I will see you as always in the next one.